With Reflect, you can create end-to-end automated tests simply by interacting with the site, and we'll record your actions and translate that into an automated test you can run at any time. I'm going to show you how this works with a sign-up flow that also includes interacting with an email to verify the email that you signed up with. So let's get started here. I'm going to click on Create a Test and call this Monday.com signup because we're going to test the sign-up flow for Monday.com. So enter monday.com as the starting URL and click begin recording. What's happening right now is we're spinning up a virtual machine. That virtual machine is running a instrumented browser, which will capture all the actions that I take over the course of this test. So as I go through and sign up, you'll see on the left-hand side that all those steps that I'm taking, clicking on things, inputting values, whatever, are automatically being generated. So first thing I'm going to do is do a visual validation. This is our way to make sure that elements on the page look the way you expect. I'm going to do a visual validation of the button here because I'm about to click on it. When I click on save, you'll see that we capture a screenshot of that button as well as the text in the button. So now I can click on it here. And let me move this over so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so under a test user here, so something random for the email. The subdomain here is not random. I'll talk about that in a minute. So click create a new account. I think this step here sometimes shows up and sometimes doesn't. They're doing some sort of A/B testing. And so what I'm going to do is actually mark this step as optional. So that's what I'm going to do here. I click on it and turn this toggle on to mark it as optional. So we'll keep going here. So use test user and then as the name and then a password. I'm just going to go through this pretty quickly just to kind of get to the good stuff. But normally what I would do is add visual validations for different things, especially right here. It's a great place to do it because it gives you kind of the end state where, if there was something changed, you would know about it. You probably would want to know if that looked different. Cool. So at this point in the test or in the sign up flow, there's this loading thing that happens. Again, we get this kind of like modal that took a couple seconds to load. I'm going to do a visual validation here. This is nice because if you have something that takes several seconds to load, a visual validation will basically make sure that it looks the way you expect before going any further. So it's going to make sure that this says I'll do it later using the screenshot as a comparison, and then I'll kind of continue on here. All right, so now we have this blue bar that says please confirm your email address. So I'm going to grab this again, and I don't really care about the visuals of it so much as the text. So kind of taking a step back here, one of the problems or challenges with sign-up flows is that you can't use the same email address twice. Once you sign up with an email address, if you try it again, you would get an account already exists error, and your test would fail. So we need to use a random email address. And so to do that, I'm going to go to this input step that we generated and switch it to use a random email address via this variable that I've created. See, it says random reflect email, and the value it uses is has this function num8. 8 just means it's going to generate 8 random numbers. So that's enough for us to assume that this will always be unique and that we can rely on it for our sign up. So now that I'm generating a random email, I need to change this assertion to basically use that random email that we just inputted near the beginning of the test. So I'm going to switch this from static to dynamic and highlight the region that has the email address in it. You'll see that we're then prompted to associate that to a variable. I could associate it to something new, but I'm actually going to associate it to the random reflect email, which is the value that we inputted earlier. And so, as that one changes, this is going to change as well. Finally, I'm going to turn this visual observe off because we don't need it. It's going to change all the time. It's just going to fail every time because it's a random email address that's in here. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my inbox. So the inbox has the emails that are sent to this special domain. Remember, I used demo.email.reflect.run. That actually is associated to my Reflect account. And so any emails that are sent to any user at that subdomain will appear here. And the one that I care about is the Welcome to Monday email. I'm actually going to click on it and then Just like I did for the text, I'm going to click and drag over the region I care about to extract that and associate it to a variable. In this case, what I want to do is associate it to a variable so that I can navigate to it in the browser bar. So I'll call it confirm Monday URL, create variable. And now to actually navigate to it, I can click on first, before I navigate to it, we've added this step called receive email sent to. This is where we'll wait for that email to arrive and then extract the URL. But there's a problem here with the setup where the matching roles are what you would expect. It's looking for a subject, it's looking for this appropriate sender and recipient, but the recipient is going to change every time. So instead of using this value that I entered, we should use the variable, which again is random reflect email. So now that that's set up correctly, I can go in and actually navigate to the URL that we extracted, which is the confirm Monday URL variable that I defined. And as a final step, we'll just assert against some visual thing that shows up here, which indicates that we did indeed confirm our email address. So we'll do that here. And then, so we have the screenshot, click save recording and save. Now what's going to happen is we'll take those steps that we just recorded and we'll run them immediately. This is our way to basically validate that everything was captured successfully and that there wasn't anything that isn't repeatable in this test. So we'll let this run for a minute or so and come back and see the results. Okay, so you can see here that the sign up test has passed, and now I can click on it to see the video of the test run. So this video here, and I'll move this over so you can see, is not a video of me recording it. It's a video of our test actually executing. So this video is synced up to the test steps that we generated automatically and shows, kind of in real time, or as it was when we ran it, what actually was done over the course of the test. So you can see here that we're going through those same steps that we had recorded. I can kind of skip ahead here, and this is the step where we actually are waiting for that email to arrive and are actually going in and asserting against that final thing that appears on the right-hand side here that indicates that we have indeed verified our email. So you can see that over the course of 5 or 6 minutes, we created an entire end-to-end test of the complete sign-up flow. We can now run this at any point, anytime we want, either via scheduling it, API, or on demand. But yeah, hopefully this is useful. Thanks for the time.